Okay, if you've ever felt like you're fighting a losing battle for your own attention, well, you are definitely not alone. We're going to get to the bottom of this whole dopamine detox thing, what the internet gets totally wrong, and what the science actually says works to get your focus back. Let's dive in.
So does this sound familiar? You've got stuff you need to do, important stuff, but you just can't seem to get started. Instead, you find yourself just scrolling endlessly, feeling totally drained and uninspired. It's a feeling so many of us know way too well these days.
And, if you've searched online for a solution, I'm willing to bet you've seen this term pop up everywhere, dopamine detox. It's pitched as this ultimate cure-all for our modern distraction, a way to just reset our brains and get that drive back. But here's the thing. What if that viral idea, the one that's all over social media, is actually based on a huge misunderstanding of how our brains really work? So let's start with the biggest myth that's causing all the confusion. It's a trendy but completely unscientific idea called dopamine loading. So what is it? Well, online, dopamine loading basically means stacking up activities to try and get this huge motivation boost. But, and this is so important, you've got to know this is not a real scientific concept. Neuroscience is much more focused on creating a healthy, balanced dopamine system, which turns out is a much more subtle and powerful idea. And to really see why that's a myth, we need to clear something up right now. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. Its real job is so much more interesting and way more important than just that. Think of it like this. Dopamine isn't the feeling of getting the prize, it's the engine that drives you to go get the prize in the first place. It's the chemical in your brain that says, hey, go get that. And it's what teaches your brain which actions are actually worth doing again. Okay, so if dopamine is all about motivation, why do so many of us feel like we've completely lost ours? Well, the answer lies in what I call the modern overstimulation trap, which makes the rewards of normal, everyday life feel, well, kind of boring. Right, here's the heart of the issue. On one side, we have habits that give us a fire hose of easy dopamine. Endless scrolling, junk food, those super short videos. This just desensitizes our brain. But on the other side, you have activities that support a healthy system. Things like morning sunlight, exercise, good sleep. They don't overload the system, they actually restore its balance. So here's the bottom line. When your brain gets used to that constant, intense buzz from your phone or from junk food, the gentle rewards of, say, reading a book or going for a walk just can't compete anymore. Your baseline for what feels good gets pushed way, way too high. And this is where the idea of a detox comes in, but we have got to define it correctly. It is not about getting rid of all dopamine. That's impossible and would actually be really dangerous. It's about a strategic reset. So the real goal here is actually pretty simple. Just reduce the noise. You're intentionally lowering all that artificial stimulation so your brain can become sensitive again to the simple satisfaction you get from normal, healthy activities. And there are really two main ways you can approach this. A light detox is something you can do every day, a practical habit like just keeping your phone off for the first hour of the day. A hard detox is more of a weekly reset button, a few hours with almost zero external stimulation to let your brain really, truly quiet down. And you know what? The payoff is surprisingly fast. Most people start feeling these benefits, like better focus, more motivation, and just enjoying simple things again in as little as 3 to 7 days. It's all about giving your brain a chance to just breathe. Okay, time for some rapid-fire myth-busting. First up, this idea that you can load up on dopamine and just store it for later, kind of like charging a battery. Nope. The truth is, your brain just doesn't work that way. The goal isn't to have more dopamine. It's to have a system that's well-regulated and responds the right way. Balance, not brute force, is the real key here. All right, next myth, that one epic 24-hour detox is going to magically fix everything and then you can just go right back to your old habits. The reality is that true change is all about consistency. Yeah, you'll feel better pretty quickly, but creating lasting sensitivity in your dopamine system, that takes anywhere from 3 to 14 days of consistent, reduced stimulation. Okay, so enough of the theory. What does this actually look like in the real world? Let's build a science-backed daily plan with habits you can actually stick with for the long haul. So the strategy we're going to aim for is called healthy stacking. This is all about intelligently combining natural, healthy activities to create a sustained wave of motivation, not one of those sharp, addictive spikes. And the scale here is absolutely everything. Healthy stacking can give you a safe and really effective 50 to 100% boost. Now compare that to dangerous drugs, which can spike it by over 1,000%, hijacking and just destroying the entire system. Remember, the goal isn't the biggest spike, it's the most sustainable one. So here's what a practical day could look like. You start your morning by stacking a few things. Some sunlight, maybe a quick cold shower, and some exercise. In the afternoon, you protect your focus with a solid deep work session. And then in the evening, you wind down naturally, without screens. See how each step supports the others? That's how you keep your dopamine system in a healthy, productive range.
Ultimately, this all comes down to a shift in your mindset. This is not about punishing yourself or stripping all the pleasure out of your life. Not at all. It's about creating balance and giving your overworked brain a much-needed chance to recover its natural rhythm.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. What is the one small distraction that you could reduce, starting today, to begin taking back your focus and your motivation? The power to reset is totally in your hands.